Teams get relegated because of poor performances and not having Premier League quality. But for individuals in the team, it can be harsh as they're a cut above the rest. So who should stay in the Premier League if they are relegated? So let's begin with a player at Sheffield United who are bottom of the league. They're definitely going to get relegated, and the player from there is Berger. Now of course he was a signing for Sheffield United while they've been in the Premier League. He signed for them in January 2020 for just over £20 million. He has got real potential to thrive in the Premier League. He's 23 now with lots of time to develop, and he's the type of player that could become an important player for many Premier League clubs. He would add defensive qualities into a team, and his performances could really have a drastic impact on a team's performance in the Premier League. He's a strong player, a mature midfielder and a Norwegian international, and this season he's been unfortunate with a long-term injury. I feel like he was just starting to settle in and get better and have a real influence on Sheffield United, and of course for them he has been a big miss. I want to see more from him in the Premier League after only seeing him join in January 2020. His progress in England has been interrupted by the pandemic and then this long-term injury, also playing in a Sheffield United team that have struggled as of late. I was surprised to see when Watford and Bournemouth went down that players like Ismail Assar and David Brooks didn't depart, but surely Berger will move on from Sheffield United. He'll be an interesting one to keep an eye on in the summer. The second player on this list is Brighton central midfielder Yves Pasuma. Now Brighton's chance of getting relegated seems to be getting slimmer with back-to-back wins, however they could still go down. But anyway, this video gives us a chance to praise Pasuma once again. He's on the radar of many clubs already, never mind with the relegation. This season he's been one of the best tacklers in the Premier League with 74 tackles won, that is the third most. He's now 24, Brighton signed him in 2018 for £15 million and could make great profit on him now. As said, there have been a lot of reports already about a transfer. Many people are impressed with the energy that he shows and the influence he has on the Brighton team. He's made the 10th most successful pressures in the Premier League with 139. However, a department where he can improve or just not do as much is shooting. For Brighton this season, he's had 22 shots with just 3 on target. The average distance from goal for his shots is 25.7 yards, which is the second highest in the league. Not the greatest stat to have, but it just shows where he needs to improve. Either getting closer to goal, improving from long range, or better decision making by making a pass instead of shooting. A quality midfielder that could be on the move even if Brighton stay in the Premier League. The next player is Ademola Lookman. Now he is currently only on loan at Fulham from RB Leipzig. However, the situation with him right now, if Fulham stay in the Premier League, I think they make his signing permanent. However, if Fulham do go down, I think he'll still want to play in the Premier League next season. He struggled in England the first time with Everton, however with Fulham he's been really good. I can't really see him getting game time at RB Leipzig, and there's definitely Premier League clubs that would want Ademola Lookman. Now I'd imagine there will be many clubs who are monitoring the situation with Ademola Lookman, because I'm sure there's clubs who are looking at him as a starter. They would sign him and play him game in, game out. However, I think he could be a similar player to Daniel James like at Manchester United, where they've signed him and he's a good rotation player. A player who's really fast, can have a big impact on a game when he comes on as a substitute. He could potentially go to a club who's in a European competition and play a great part in their squad. He's been a brilliant signing for Fulham and really influential to their attacking play. 53 key passes is the most for Fulham. He's been able to get 4 assists, which is the most for Fulham, and also 4 goals along with that is the second most. And then his standout quality is his dribbling ability. With 71 successful dribbles this season, that is the third most in the Premier League. I also see it as a similar signing to Eberechi Eze at Crystal Palace. They aren't exactly an attacking team, however when he's on the pitch he just gives them something different. Lookman could be a superb signing for many Premier League teams, or that could all change if Fulham survive. I'm sure they'll then sign him permanently. Next is Matheus Pereira from West Brom, who now seems certain to go down along with Sheffield United. I think if West Brom didn't get promoted last season from the Championship, then Matheus Pereira would have been picked up by a Premier League club anyway. So with it looking likely that he'll be going back down to the Championship, I think he'll be on the radar of some clubs. Last season in the Championship, he was able to score 8 goals and get 20 assists. It's not really too hard to find clubs in the Premier League that are a bit more attacking than West Brom, so if he goes to another team where he's getting on the ball a bit more, I think he's another player who can be influential in the attack for a club. He's also great at taking free kicks. He scored 2 in the Championship last year and he's been able to score 1 in the Premier League this season. It's no surprise that he has created the most chances for West Brom this season with 42. So like I say, in a team that isn't as defensive as West Brom, I think Matheus Pereira can have a quality season in the Premier League. And then keeping on the theme of exciting attacking wingers, we've got Newcastle United's SaintMaximin. Times aren't looking great for Newcastle United. They seem to be going in one direction. One of the biggest positives at Newcastle United has been the signing of SaintMaximin for just over £15 million. I think out of all the players in this video and the wingers that we've just talked about, SaintMaximin is the one that we want to see thrive in the Premier League the most. And the reason for this is the entertainment he could bring to the Premier League, and he's got a significant quality with his successful dribbling, similar to Ademola per 90 in the Premier League this season. Traore averages 5.43 successful dribbles, but SaintMaximin is the second with 4.96. And when I say significant quality, what I really mean by this is he could go to any club in the world and continue to do this. He also averages 1.5 key passes per 90 and gets fouled 2.9 times per 90. He's an unpredictable player, capable of skills, really hard to stop. I would love to see him stay in the Premier League and hopefully at a team where he will get the ball more. His numbers in one season, his successful dribbles, his goals and assists could be outrageous. Let me know, if Newcastle do get relegated, where is SaintMaximin gonna go next? The next player is someone who I have talked about quite a bit, and that is Andre Frank Zambo Anguissa. A big reason as to why I have talked about him quite a bit throughout the season is because I made my Fulham video at the very start of the season, and Anguissa was a big part of that video where I said he was disappointing in his first season with Fulham in the Premier League. However, when he went on loan in Spain to Villarreal, he showed what he was capable of and could show in the Premier League. So with that, I wanted to keep an eye on him in the Premier League, look at his performances, look at the statistics, and while he has been able to continue that form he showed in Spain. I said at the start of the season a particular quality of his he showed in Spain was winning the ball deep and then progressing the ball forward by dribbling past players. While taking a look at the stats, he's won 67 tackles, which is the 7th most in the league, and also he's got 82 successful dribbles, which is the 2nd most in the league. And his progressive distance when carrying the ball is just over 3,000 yards. It's something that works really well for him, tackling the ball, taking people on, and then making a pass higher up the pitch. If Fulham do get relegated, I see him on the move. Whether that's in the Premier League, he might return to Spain, but for sure at a Premier League club he can be a really good asset in the squad. And then staying with Fulham, I've actually got this one down as either of their centre backs. So that's either Joakim Andersen or Tosin. Both of them were new signings to Fulham this season, and both of them were playing in the Premier League for the first time. And there have been moments this season where they've been really impressive. The standout was that Liverpool 1-0 win they had recently. Both of the centre backs rank in the top 10 for most accurate long balls played by outfield players. Tosin has a great height of 6'5" and Andersen is 6'2", and that was one of the standout qualities of Tosin in that 1-0 win versus Liverpool. Clearing the danger in the air, he had 8 headed clearances. Reliable centre backs now with experience in the Premier League I'm sure will be snapped up by other Premier League clubs if they do go down to the Championship. To add depth at centre back with either of these players will be a good addition to your squad. Back with Brighton, if they were to go down, I think Ben White is a certain departure. Similar to Pasuma, there's reports of him leaving even if they don't get relegated. But after being on loan at Leeds United in the Championship, he's come into the Premier League for the first time with Brighton and shown what he's capable of, especially in terms of on the ball. He's played in various positions, mostly at centre back, but he also has played defensive midfield and even as the right wing back in one match this season. This really shows the confidence that Graham Potter has in him being on the ball. We all know how so many teams play out from the back, and Ben White is a perfect player for that system. Playing as the right centre back in the back three, he is allowed to push higher up the pitch, and this is how he's got so many interceptions this season. He's got 47 interceptions, which ranks 9th in the Premier League, which proves how well his anticipation is and confidence to move out of the defensive line, and also his ability and technique on the ball. 17 successful dribbles is the 19th most for defenders in the Premier League, which really proves how that right centre back role in the back three is a great role for him to play in, giving him the freedom to push up that field a little bit more. He's got the other two centre backs beside him, and he's a great outlet for passing out from the back as he links the defence and the midfield. I don't think it'll take a relegation for Ben White to move away from Brighton. Let's see if he makes a move to somewhere else this summer. Who else could you see making a transfer away if they were relegated? Leave it in the comments. I recommend that you don't miss out on future videos. Subscribe to Route 1 and like the video if you did enjoy.